This is Digital Anarchist.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us here on another segment for TechStrong TV. My guest this segment is Dennis Hurst. Dennis is the president of Saltworks. Hey Dennis, welcome to TechStrong TV and thanks for joining us.
Great, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
No problem. I love that mic there, Dennis. That's an impressive looking microphone.
Thank you. It's
Yeah.
We do a lot of training with customers, so it's nice to have one that picks up decent.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, our CTO, Mitch Ashley, does a lot of our TechStrong interviews as well. He has a similar looking one, and it's nice. I try to do the, hands-free thing here, but whatever. Hey, Dennis, you've never been on TechStrong. I don't think we've had anyone.
I don't think so.
From Saltworks, no?
Yeah, I've seen so. We've watched your podcast, but I don't think anybody's been on yet.
So you're a case of first impression, as we say.
There we go.
Why don't we start off, though, and assume maybe not everyone knows the company? Why don't you give us a little background or maybe a little of your background?
Certainly. So I've been a software developer since middle school. My mom was a computer teacher many, many years ago, so I've been doing it since then. My degree's in industrial engineering, but I've been an application security engineer since 2000 when I was a developer of WebInspect. And Saltworks, we're a company, we're an application security consulting company. We partner with companies to build world-class AppSec programs, kind of from policy through production, monitoring, everything. Really focusing on how do you integrate security into your development process. That's what we do.
Absolutely. And, back in 2000, I don't even know if you called it AppSec, right? Because I didn't know if there was what we did was AppSec, but I don't know if it was called AppSec. But certainly since, let's say, 2010, AppSec has become, a top of the list of security priorities.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's not interesting. It's kind of elementary, right? We see that happening.
Yeah.
Yep. So, but certainly 2020, Dennis, right, was a year for the record books and for many reasons. Yeah. But, it presented some interesting challenges around AppSec as well.
It really did. It's interesting you mentioned it. Going back to 2020, I got into this business because I was working for a bank and we got somebody came in and did a pen test. They breached us through the application. That opened my eyes up as a developer, but you're exactly right. There wasn't a word for it. It was a lot of times we would go around and do a pen test to show somebody why it was important. It was almost, you had to exploit them and then explain it to them. But now it's much different. Now the industry really does understand. We're starting to understand it, at least what the nature of it is. Developers understand it when you talk to them a little bit. So big improvements in the last 20 years.
Absolutely. No, you know what? So I've been in security that long myself, right, Dennis? And I used to be of the crowd that no one cared about security but security people. Mm-hmm. And but doing DevOps.com the last 8 years, and working with developers and cloud native folks and ops people, no one raises their hand and says, I want to develop crappy or buggy code or insecure, or I want to put up an insecure app. Everyone wants to do the right thing.
Yeah.
It's just, from here to there, sometimes it doesn't always work as well as we want. And I imagine it's a lot of what you guys are about at Saltworks.
Oh, it really is. A lot of what we do day in and day out is helping people integrate security into their development processes, DevOps processes, or whatever their process is. Certainly DevOps is where we see the most pain. And I think that's honestly why we've grown. It's sort of, there's two struggling points of people want security in their applications, but at the same time, DevOps requires speed. And forever, those two things were kind of incompatible, if you will. So a lot of what we focus on is how do you integrate security into DevOps and not lose speed? And where is the value of that? So that we kind of sit in an interesting niche, if you will. We sort of span two worlds between developers and security and understanding both spaces. But it's a really fun space to be in, but it is, it kind of puts us, not a lot of people in this space right now. But I think it is
Sure
important.
was.
To your point, with DevOps, you have to go fast, and there's business reasons for that, and you have to be secure. Nobody ever wants one or the other. You want both.
Yep.
So that's
But truth be told, that was why that first attracted me to DevOps. I felt, look, here's an opportunity for us to do it different, to do it better, to cover up some past sins and get another bite at the apple, so to speak.
Oh,
in that,
absolutely.
we can do it right.
Yeah. I think, if you go back 10 years even, the whole problem, one of the big problems we had was, if I notified a company that they had a vulnerability in their software, it might take them 2, 3, 4 months to release a patch. Well,
right.
So you're sitting there open for months, if not years. If a company is DevOps, they can find it, fix it, test it, and release it much faster. And that's a good thing. I mean, that's fundamentally good. You got to be good at it. You have to be efficient, but that's good for the industry. So I think I personally like DevOps because you can fix faster, which is huge.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And here's the other sort of, it's not an oxymoron, but it's counterintuitive. Mm-hmm. At some level, if we can automate more security, that automation allows us to go faster. And we go faster and automate more. Not only do we go faster, but we can actually be more secure. So rather than just, security trying to keep up, we could actually wind up more secure than we were before doing that.
Absolutely. If you go to our website, you'll see a big race car with red brakes. And
right.
We use the analogy of, if you've ever driven a truly fast car, the only way you truly go fast is having those brakes to control things. Brakes don't make a race car go faster. They allow it to go quicker.
And turn and do all of that. Great. That's a great analogy. I love it. That's a good one. So Dennis, though, I spend a lot of my time talking to security folks, developers, DevOps folks, as I say. Here's a common thing I hear from them, and I'd love your take on it. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows OWASP, and the OWASP top 10 has become like a, not a Bible, but it's a household name within our industry. But yet, when you look at this OWASP top 10, it really hasn't changed much in like 7-8 years.
Yeah.
In terms of the top, AppSec vulnerabilities to watch for, things like cross-site scripting and buffer overflows and.
Yeah.
Why can't we get off that schneid and move, finally put those to rest and worry about other problems?
I think it goes back, there's an old saying in computer programming, garbage in, garbage out.
Right.
Which ultimately all of those are malicious garbage in, and you get malicious garbage out. And I looked it up one time. That saying goes back to, I think it was 1964. So it's older than me. This has been this is an old problem. Now there's a security aspect to it. And I think it's, developers want to code fast. They move quick, which they should, but they don't invest the time to do the security testing and do the validation. And we just keep repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again throughout time. For 55, 56 years now, we've been doing this like this. It's a saying for 56 years.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing because that's almost about how old I am. Yeah. But I'm a little older than that, but not much. But here's the thing. If we know this, why can't we do better? Why can't we? Look, we've done a good job of building like QA testing.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It automated into our deliveries, right? So load testing, unit testing, all different kinds of testing. Why can't we do better building security testing in?
I think we can. I think that the challenge and where we meet customers every day is you have development teams that are very good at developing software and testing. To your point, you've got the security people that are good at security. The challenge is those two traditionally just don't talk. And in taking security and integrating into the development in a way that doesn't break development is the kill. I think that last little phrase is killer, because it's easy for me to tell you to do 20 things in your development process, but I'll totally destroy your DevOps process. I'll make it slow. I'll make it inefficient. I'll make it manual. So it takes a stepping up of both teams, a partnership to say, we're going to do security testing and we're going to do it integrated and automated to the absolute extent possible. And then what we have to do manually, we'll figure out how to do that out of bound. But that partnership it just takes a lot of work. That's what we spend most of our time doing is that.
That's what I was going to ask you. Tell us how you guys help with that.
So really what we do is we first start out with helping companies to build policies and procedures. So policies are things like, what do you have to do to go live? It's your traditional thing. Procedures are more around saying, if you have a build environment, if you have a DevOps pipeline, how should that be integrated? So it's kind of those technical, tactical details of how do you actually do this thing? And what are the metrics we're going to look at on the back end to know that we did it and communicate to management? So it's a lot of, in the weeds things like build integration with build servers, automating test scripts, automating feedback loops so you can do build breaks. It's just lots of traditional DevOps activities from a security perspective and working with customers to bring that knowledge and training to those folks that do it. So we spend the microphone, a lot of us have these, but it's really a lot of working with people to help them with those tactical details of how do you do this well. It's a lot of that, and helping people come up with valuable metrics. I think people underestimate metrics. You have to be able to tell developers if they're doing the right thing and communicate clearly to management of what you're doing and is it working or not working or where do you need help? All those kinds of things.
Agreed. Can you? And again, I don't want you to give out any school secrets or anything. But can you give us some examples of kind of organizations you've worked with and the kinds of things that you just spoke about here, like real world examples and how it's worked?
And this is true of several, so I'm not giving away any secrets, but we've seen this a lot. We've got multiple clients that are very, very large, are dealing with financial data, other data as well, but financial is very common for us. And teams within those companies are doing a very good job. The challenge is there's inconsistency in what's happening. So one team may be doing great with static testing, but not doing any pen testing or whatever the thing is that they're not doing. So where we work with them is to come up with a standard that can be applied across the enterprise, but is flexible enough that those teams that are DevOps can still use it, or waterfall and they can use it, or whatever they are. And then helping them to gather metrics. We've got a product called SaltMiner, and its primary objective is to gather metrics from all these different environments and present them in a common nomenclature. So that a lot of it's consistency and helping fill in all the gaps. Some teams will be great and some teams will be not great. The goal is to raise the water level across the board. But that's true of a lot of organizations. It's very common. Security frequently it's not that it's bad, it's just very tribal. One team does one thing and one team does a separate thing. Well, getting them all on the same sheet of music is a lot of work. And standardized ways of reporting, because they will use different tools. They're going to use different scanning vendors and just based on their environment, they're going to do the best thing that they can. And respecting that, we have to respect that.
Agreed. Hey, Dennis, we're 15 plus minutes into this already. I wanted to ask other things we may want to touch on here.
Yeah, one of the things as a vendor, we partner with a lot of different folks, different manufacturers of different assessment tools. Our approach generally there is to bring the best tool to the job. We realize that different tools do good or bad in different environments. We try to be very respectful of that. As a customer,
compared to where. So I started a company called Still Secure 2001. We came out with a vulnerability assessment and management tool in like 2003, 2004, in that range. Back then, there wasn't a lot of tools, right?
Oh, yeah.
You had Nessus and Tenable. You had Foundstone, if you remember Foundstone.
Oh, yeah.
You're of an age, you remember it.
ISS Scanner, those guys.
Yeah. But now the tools today are pretty phenomenal for not only the traditional vulnerability scanner, but your pen testing tools, pen testing as a service, AppSec, as a service guy. You have a lot more, a better toolkit.
You really do.
A lot of, tools make the man sometimes, or the woman, whatever the case may be, right?
Yeah, and your point earlier about the focus on automation, those tools help you do that. Without that tooling, and I think that's where metrics go into play too, around showing the value of those investments.
Yeah,
security people. I'm a security guy. Best friends are security people. But we tend to not be awesome at communicating to management. Into saying,
well, we talk a different language.
It really is. Yeah, metrics, having metrics to report what did you do and what's working and what's not working and where do you need help clearly to somebody that isn't a security expert. Maybe they're we've got companies that have 5, 10 vice presidents of development in different divisions. You have to be able to communicate with them. So the focus around metrics is really important.
But here's the thing I've learned, because I've been in this also. You need to talk their language.
Oh, absolutely.
Don't expect them to talk your language.
Yes.
Right? They're never going to get into the bits and bytes of what makes a cross-site scripting error.
Absolutely. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. We push all of our employees to read and know different DevOps books. It gives them that language to speak to somebody that's a developer. They're smart people. It's just a different language. It's different.
No, it's a different language. It's the old not Earth and Men. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Remember, it's that same kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Like two ships in the night like that. But interesting. You know what, Dennis? I don't think we mentioned the website, did we?
We didn't. It's pretty easy. It's just saltworks.io.
That makes it for an easy one. Cool.
Yep.
Hey, we're about out of time. Anything else you want to just pass off to the audience?
No, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. If anybody's got any questions, feel free to come to saltworks.io, contact us. We'll be happy to answer any questions. And thanks again for your time. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you.
It's our pleasure to have you on, Dennis. All right. Dennis Hurst, president at Saltworks Security, but everyone knows him as Saltworks. Here on TechStrong TV, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back with our next guest.